Hey, sir, do you know what time it is?
Oh yeah, it's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. It's the weekly what?
The weekly what?
You know, the weekly what? Come on, man. Let's go! The weekly what? The weekly what? We talk about God, eat hot wings and stuff. We'll play some games. You'll probably laugh a bit with special segments like Brandon's Tech Minute. We got Angel's TikTok, Nora's dance moves. The weekly what? 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 It's the weekly what? What is the weekly what exactly?
What?
Well, you're about to find out. The weekly what? It's the weekly what? Epic on air, coming to you live. It's Phil, Holly, Angel, Chris in 3, 2, 1. Let's go!
What is up, Epic?
Guys.
It is the moment that all of you guys have been waiting for. I know because I can read your mind. And I know because people have told me in passing, Angel, they've all been looking forward to seeing you do the Hot Wings Challenge. So we've made it. This is the week. What kind of hot sauces do you have, Angel? What are we dealing with today?
Good question. Holly got the worst of the worst. Just kidding. But one is garlic medium. Feel okay about that.
That's nothing.
The next one's just hot. So I don't know. I can't do mild, so that'll be interesting. And this is extremely hot Wuju sauce. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
So if I die, it was nice knowing you guys. I love you. Here we go.
I feel like Wuju sauce just sounds like something that makes like a nightmare happen. So, you know, I'm praying for you. I think you're going to do just fine. But we'll start off nice and small, nice and easy with the first one, right? So you have your wings nearby you?
Yes, got the wings.
Okay, man, I'm psyched.
Goodness.
So just to give everyone a personal context, Angel's going to answer some questions as she eats the hot wings, right? If it's her first time viewing it. And she knows the first two questions. I told her ahead of time. But the last one on the hottest sauce, she has no idea what I'm about to ask her. So we're looking forward to that. But the first one, I think it's just nice, you know, chill, easy. Go ahead and take a bite and tell you. So Angel, people want to know, if you could go anywhere in the world to take a trip, where would it be and why? Man, already starting off, nice little kick.
You know, it's all right. If I could go anywhere in the world, I would go to Greece. I've always wanted to go there. I think the beach is so beautiful and just the scenery. And I want to ride a donkey. Who doesn't want to ride a donkey? You know, up those cliffs. That's a dream. That's a dream. So that was.
So I have to ask a follow-up question. From what age did the wanting of riding the donkey start? Was that recent? Was that from a young age? Because that was a very specific thing to point out. I'm curious.
Yeah, I think ever since. Have you ever seen? I don't know if you've seen it, but people in the chat, the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. You know when they go, one of her goes to Greece. No, anyone? April Latimer says she loves Greece. So it was ever since I saw that video, I was like, ooh, that sounds like, it looks nice. It looks fun. Overseas, I've never been overseas. So.
All right.
For Jamaica, but that small amount. So.
You heard it here. If anyone wants to make Angel's Day, get her a plane ticket to Greece.
Take me to Greece.
Probably not now with things that are going on, but you know, when things get a little bit better. All right, so the next wing.
Oh man. Okay.
What is it? Just hot sauce, right? Hot.
It was hot, yeah.
Hot. All right, let's set ourselves up. Get yourself ready. First one wasn't bad, right? That was easy.
It was a little spicy.
Oh, it's probably just flavorful, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, now we might be dealing with something a little bit more. All right, the second question, Angel. This is actually something that I love to revisit every now and then because it's just a great part of your story, right? Can you please explain where the nickname Ace originated?
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, dial it up, huh? Miami Heat in town. All right.
Yeah. My Ace nickname, I was in 6th grade. It's kind of hot.
Yeah, hey,
and
you're doing well.
I was on the volleyball team, you know, peaked 6th grade.
Mm.
My friend Jessica, I turned to her and I was like, you know, it'd be a cool nickname, Ace. That'd be like the sickest nickname of them all. And she was like, she stole it. She took it for herself. The next day I came into practice and she was like, oh, like, yeah, good one, Ace. And I was like, who are they talking to? Jessica. She stole my nickname. And I was heartbroken as a little 6th grader.
Mm.
And yeah, so ever since then, I've wanted my nickname to be Ace. And I convinced people at like a NAVS event that was like, they should just call me Ace because that would make my dreams come true. And they did it. So that kind of carried up through NAVS a little bit. You guys wouldn't do it, the old NAVS, but you know, the newer ones, I got them hooked. And then Shane really made it come true when he was in my Converge group last year for the summer camp that we do. And I was like, oh, hey, here's my sad story. You should make it a reality. And he did. So there you go, Ace. Keep the tradition going.
Have you ever reconnected with Jessica? And also, did you eat the whole wing? I'm just curious. I don't know if that's like.
I didn't eat the whole
Oh
wing.
yeah, I think you're supposed to.
No, I didn't really want to talk to Jessica after that. Which you should learn from me. Talk to the people that you don't like very much. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a good lesson. Hey, I do want to follow up on that question really quick. So let's say the Ace nickname doesn't exist, right? And you had to think of another nickname based out of a deck of cards. What would you go with? So, for example, you have Full House or Straight Flush or King, Queen, Joker. What are you feeling?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, not to boast, but I feel like I can give a Joker too. So I'd probably go with the Joker, you know?
Joker?
Yeah, why not?
All right, Epic
It
students,
has
you heard it here.
It like has connotations of Batman and bad, so it's a chance, you know?
All right, I might start
Okay.
throwing that one around a little bit more, see if that one takes off.
Do
All
it.
right,
Do it, guys. Mhm.
the moment we've been waiting for.
Oh my gosh.
The Woojoo Nightmare Hot Sauce. And the final question. So, Angel, before I ask you this question, before you take a bite of the hot sauce, I just want to give you a little context. This question was actually submitted by one of the students. Okay. Our very own Kyle Soder gave me this question asked you. So
right,
just be ready for that. So go ahead and take the bite of your wing.
Okay.
Let it sit for a second. All right, here's the question. It's kind of long, so I have to read it off my notes, okay? So, in Marvel's Avengers Infinity War, comic book supervillain Thanos pursues the Infinity Gauntlet in hopes of quelling the universe's overpopulation problem that has led to war and starvation. His method of wiping out 50% of living beings can be considered both ethically and morally wrong. Angel, if you were put into a position of power that Thanos held, how would you go about addressing and helping the overpopulation problem of the universe both safely and effectively?
Are you kidding? King, why would you ask that? That's a really good question. How would you do it, Chris?
That's not my time. It's not my 5 minutes of fame. And people want to know your answer.
Oh man. I'd say I have to pray about it a lot. And just go where the Lord led me to go.
How do you feel like he would lead you to go? Because we know here at Epic, we believe that prayer produces action, right?
Yeah.
So what action do you feel like would flow into that?
I have no idea. I'm sorry. I have no idea.
So would you be okay with Thanos using the method that he did?
No.
All right, so you got to give us an answer. We can't critique without giving an answer, right?
Yeah. I have no clue. That's so hard. I don't know. I don't watch the superhero movies as much as they do. Yeah.
So that's the answer. We don't know.
I don't know. I'm sorry, you guys. That's a hard question.
There's a hard question. Man, if anything, kids, we learned that it's not a healthy decision to try and play God. I think that's all the time we have. So, Angel, how was that hot sauce, that last one? Pretty good?
It's all right. I think the hot one was worse, honestly.
Really? The hot one was worse?
Yeah. This isn't as bad as the bite is made up to be. So,
Will you eat a little bit more if it's not too bad, or?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Whoa, Angel.
Here you go,
Okay.
for the kids. Let's see.
FTK. All right. Well, as Angel keeps chowing down on that wing to see if it backfires a little bit later, I think we'll continue on. So, nice job, Angel.
Thank you. I made it.
I'd love to revisit that last question, though. We'll come back to it. People want to know your answer. So,
Thanks, guys.
coolio. I think we have Brandon's Tech Minute that we're going to transition into. So, why don't we check that out?
All right, this is worse than I thought.
Don't worry, I'll tell you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's Tech Minute. A special big thanks to Matt Hurley for making that killer intro. This past Sunday, we had a movie night at Epic, and I had a come to Jesus moment. It was great. Like Saul on the road to Damascus, I was blinded by the light. And if that song popped into your head, perfect. But what happened was I looked up into a projector, and it was like seeing the light of Jesus. So this week we're going to talk about projectors. And we're going to talk about two specific types of projectors today. Liquid crystal display projectors, aka LCD, and digital light processing projectors, DLP. And then we're going to jump into it, and you'll have fun, I promise. Cool. So, 3 LCD projectors. They take light from a projector lamp, and then they pass it through these dichroic mirrors. Everyone say dichroic. None of you said it. Why didn't no one say it? I'm very disappointed, guys. It's okay. Okay, so it's taking this light through the dichroic mirrors, and what it does is it separates the blue, the red, and the green light into 3 separate beams. And then they pass through an LCD panel, and they combine at the end to project your final image. Ta-da! LCD projectors. And then the DLP projectors, they use a lamp that passes light through a focusing lens that's nice and small, and that passes through a color filter that is spinning really, really, really fast. And then that light is then reflected off of a digital micrometer device. And that little dude is cool. It's a little chip. Maybe, okay, I got a picture. It's like smaller than a $20 bill. And it's made up of these tiny, tiny, tiny little mirrors that individually reflect light off and generally are responsible for about 1 pixel. And that's a lot. There's a lot of pixels. It does a lot of things. It's really cool. Now, guys, that's been a lot. It's a lot of technology in very, very short amount of time. I'm boiling down so much incredible information from Texas Instruments because they made DLP processing. But at the end of the day, the big takeaway is, guys, don't look into projectors. I promise you, it doesn't work out well. Guys, that's been this week's Tech Minute. I'll see you in a minute.
And we're live. Hello, Epic students and other students if you're there. And other students. Oh, someone has me playing in the background. Someone has me playing.
Oh, got an echo. My gosh.
Not me.
Okay, so guys,
Luke.
it's that
No.
special time. We're gonna talk about our fun game of the day, and our fun game is basically like charades meets fishbowl meets I just kind of wanted to make everyone act silly, and I think it's gonna be a great time. So I sent everyone 7 Disney movies, and their goal is in 90 seconds to act out as many of them as possible for everyone to guess. You get points by getting them correct, and you get points if people get yours. So,
Oh, okay. All right.
So if you don't know where they are, Epic Staff and Lou and Mac, they are in the chat. I sent them on Zoom for you guys. Also, guys,
Okay.
Lou and Mac are here. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Dang. There you go.
Lou all the way from Maui. Mac all the way from Claremont, Florida.
Other side of Orlando, you know.
Wait, are they supposed to be in the chat? Can anyone else see them, or is it just not me seeing them?
Uh,
I have them.
I have
you your
mine.
own.
You have your own.
I have
I-
mine, yeah.
Yeah.
You should have a
and-
personal message.
Oh, you know what? When Lou was on his phone earlier, he switched his laptop. Wonder if that gave us any technical difficulties. You know what I mean?
Sorry, guys, it's the Maui. You know, coconuts don't work here.
He's in Maui mode.
I got it.
Okay, there we go. Problem solved, crisis averted. And I think, Phil, would you be willing to start us off?
I would. How much time would I have?
90 seconds.
Okay, hold on.
So we're trying to shout it out. If we get a
Can
crowd
we-
that moves on.
Yeah.
Can the chat
me
help
check.
us? Can we take a look and see? Should we?
The chat can help. They are about 8 seconds behind.
All right,
So-
they're super fast. All right, Lou, you've got a vote of confidence from Matt Wisnett. He thinks you know a lot about Disney, so you've got this. So.
True.
All right, Phil's limbering up, guys. That's very important. Always limber up.
I just need to act this out, right?
Yeah,
can't use
act it out. I mean, if you want to say words, I'm not gonna like be really a stickler for it, but just don't be like, oh look, it's this, obviously. You know, we're trying to have
Okay.
fun.
And they're all
Okay.
Disney movies?
All of them are Disney or
Right.
Disney properties.
Okay.
So,
Disney
That
enough.
helps,
Okay,
that
all
helps,
right.
that helps.
Ready.
World.
okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hulk.
Hulk. No, anger.
No.
Kronk.
Inside out.
No. What's the
Avengers.
Wreck-It
Oh,
Ralph, Wreck-It
Moana.
Ralph.
No, the Seven
Moana,
Dwarfs.
the Rock.
No,
Oh,
Snow
Penguin.
White and
Look
Seven
at
Dwarfs.
Penguin.
Somebody
So-
say
Oh,
Rock?
March of the
the big-
Penguins.
We're gonna skip. We're gonna skip.
Skip. Okay.
All right.
Do I have to go in order?
No.
Okay.
Greenland. Wait, what?
Jellyfish. Oh, Finding Nemo. No.
No.
Star Wars.
La, 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 la.
Spider-Man.
Wally. Not
Yay.
Wally.
No,
What the
what's that
heck?
guy?
Wall-E.
Big Six.
Wait, keep going, Phil. Keep going.
Yes, you got it. Lou got it. Lou
Yeah,
got
Lou.
it.
Okay.
This one. What's up there?
The sky.
Sky.
Sky high.
Window.
Up.
Sky high.
Moon.
Lou got it.
Oh, thank you, Lou. Okay.
What was it?
Cars.
Tron.
Look, Cars.
Mac got it.
Oh, are you serious?
Come on. What?
What did you say?
He got it.
You
Mac got
got
it. It was Tron.
Oh, you're the man.
Elsa. Frozen.
Humpback of Notre Dame.
Rapunzel. Tangled.
Angle. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Oh gosh, I don't know how to do this one.
And that's time.
Oh.
Oh.
Phil.
Wow,
Phil
that was
got
good, Phil.
4 points.
Good job,
And-
Phil.
Good job,
Lou
Phil.
took away second place so far with 2 points.
Oh, I got points
Dude.
for that.
Josh Rhodes got all of them pretty much. in the chat.
What?
Yeah,
Joshua Rhodes. When in doubt, go to him.
honestly. He knows what-
Impressive. Between Sammy and Josh, I feel like they could take this game.
Yeah.
Holly 4. Can you give us the next one?
Yeah,
Yeah, Holly.
I'm ready. All right, we're making space.
Do we have to
okay?
stand up? I guess it gives us a little bit more room
I mean,
to work
if you
with,
think you can do it sitting down, I'll give you a point extra.
I
Oh,
could-
no.
It depends how much you want to win. Chris.
Deal.
right? Okay.
My eyes are so bad, guys. So I'm gonna have to keep getting close. Literally, I can't see anything unless I'm this close. But I'm prepared. Okay.
All right.
Phil, come on.
Nice.
Everybody has different eyesight problems.
Fist bump,
Okay?
fist
Mine are
bump.
just
But
bad.
also, when people can't see, they go to the eye doctor and get glasses.
You know what, guys? I have glasses. I could.
I
wear them.
support you, Holly.
But I just am not.
The
Okay.
people
let's-
want answers, Angel. What would you do if you were
Stop it.
Thanos?
Stop it. Joey,
right.
again.
Are you
Kyle
guys ready?
Sutter, I've never been so proud of you in my life than when I heard that
Same,
question.
dude.
Just want to say that.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh,
Now,
hat.
Princess and the Frog. Princess and the Frog.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Hunchback. Oh no.
Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland.
Up.
Mary Poppins. Mary
Mary
Poppins.
Poppins. Oh no.
Oh,
Okay.
Alice in Wonderland.
Hannah Montana the movie.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Okay.
Let's go.
Alice in Wonderland.
Cinderella.
Bug's Life.
Sorry. Gosh. Cinderella. No.
Yes, Cinderella.
Oh,
Cinderella. What?
Yes. Okay.
That was too easy.
Oh.
That one.
Oh, Glass Slipper.
You
Inside
love
Out.
it. Big
Strength. Strength.
Hercules.
Your heart gives you strength.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Frozen. Belle. Oh, Beauty and the Beast.
No. Okay. Never mind.
Okay.
We're coming back to it.
Holes. Holes.
Yeah.
Holes.
I thought,
Yep.
I thought that was DreamWorks. I guess it is Disney.
Well,
Frozen,
Frozen.
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 No, Cold.
Alice in Wonderland.
No,
Frozen 2.
The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Aladdin 2. Aladdin 3.
What is happening?
And the Tramp.
We got the first word. Okay.
What?
What was the first word?
I don't know.
Cars 2. Cars 2.
The night.
Cold.
The night
Cold.
before.
Nightmare Before
Star Wars.
Christmas.
No, White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Force Awakens.
White
The Force
Christmas. White
Awakens.
Christmas.
And that was time.
Oh.
Snow dogs, guys. Snow dogs.
Oh, dog.
No,
Oh.
dog.
I've seen it, okay,
Should have
but-
given Max no dogs.
That was 8 below. 8 below.
All right. Did anyone get Emperor's New Groove? Or Holly, did you try that one?
Oh, that's what that
No,
was. I did not
I
know.
didn't know how to. That was me being like, I love this one because I love that movie, but I couldn't.
That's
think
why I
of how
gave
to-
you the movie. I was hopeful, but it is difficult. You can't really portray Llama well, you know.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Ace.
Oh man. All right. All right. I'm gonna do it sitting down so I can get the extra point.
Okay.
Oh,
Get extra
Ollie,
points for
let's
sitting.
go.
bring it
Uh,
on, Angel.
Yeah, just because they asked, and I was like, if you can, don't worry, Phil. You'll be fine. You're good at this game.
Whatever.
All right.
I want to hear Brandon's answer to the Thanos question. You know what I mean?
Don't go in half the population. Go in thirds at a time. Okay.
Well, you thought about this.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Lights,
Mary
Yep.
lightsaber.
Phil.
Mary
Go.
Poppins.
Oh.
Mary Poppins. Angel. Mary Poppins.
He already got it. He already got it.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Alice
Break.
in Wonderland.
Unbreakable. Wait.
Break.
Inside Out.
Breaking.
Breakthrough.
Break light.
Oh, Ralph Breaks Internet.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow, Lou, nice.
Sad.
No Light and Seven Dwarfs.
Inside Out. Inside Out. No.
Something Santa Claus.
It's something about
Rapping.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed
Elf?
Reindeer. I don't think Disney owns that.
Elf.
Reindeer.
Elf.
One of the
Uh,
elves.
Uh,
Okay,
Elf
let's
Dogs
take it, let's
2.
take it.
Balto.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Ready?
Lady and the Tramp.
Bug's Life.
Bug's Life.
Time.
Time.
Clock. Time.
Time.
Wally.
Land Before Time. Time.
Time here.
Time.
Sweater?
Sweater.
Time. Sweatshirt.
Nightmare Before
whatever. Okay.
What? That's not a movie.
Toy Story. Toy Story.
No.
Oh.
Tall. Big.
Big. Handshake.
Big.
Giant. The Big Friendly Giant.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Are you
Whoa.
serious?
Seriously?
The Iron
Wait,
Giant.
wait.
A monkey. Monkey. Oh.
Oh,
Scared.
And that
Alice in
was
Wonderland?
time. That was time.
Chicken
Oh.
Little.
Chicken Little.
Oh, Chicken
Okay.
Little.
Oh.
Everyone has to really step it up
It was
just a
a
little bit
wrinkle.
more
It was a
because Lou is
wrinkle.
gonna crush this.
A Wrinkle in Time.
A Wrinkle in Time. That was the one.
It was
You can't like
close.
ruin
Oh,
the
Are you,
weird,
are
right?
you
Josh
giving
Rhodes
points also
and
to
Emily?
when we guess it correctly?
Yeah.
Oh,
Man.
dang.
Oh, Josh knew it. Yeah, Josh. Let's
Oh,
go.
okay.
Yeah.
different
So
route.
did Emily and Sammy. How did we
And
not?
Sammy.
A Bug's Life.
People.
All right, Chris, are you ready?
Ooh.
Whew, yeah, I'm gonna sit down because I think I'm gonna need the buffer point that you're offering right now. Okay, let me see. Which one do I want to start with? Yeah, okay, I'm good.
Okay,
All right,
3,
go.
2, 1, go.
Cars. Transformers 3.
Cars 3.
Lou.
Okay,
Coco.
Camp
Moana.
Phil got it.
What did he say?
Okay. Jorg.
Captain Hook.
Peter
Pirates
Pan. Peter Pan.
Uh,
Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Caribbean and the Curse of the Black
Two.
Pearl.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Dead Man's Chest.
Dead Man Tells No Tales. Dead Man Tells No Tales.
Phil,
yeah.
Phil gets
Okay.
it.
The
Book.
Bible. Jonah.
Book of
Rain. Noah.
The dream one. What is that? The
Never
one
Ending Story.
Inside Out. The cover.
no, it's bedtime stories.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is that not it?
Tarzan.
That's the big one.
Swinging on a tree. Tarzan.
It's a book.
So you
That's
go.
not a movie.
A book. Jungle Book. Jungle Book.
Oh, Jungle Book.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, Shrek. Is it Shrek?
Shrek.
Is it the
Not
dragon?
Pete's Dragon. Pete's Dragon.
Philip.
Ah.
wow.
King. Oh, Princess. Jasmine. Aladdin. Snow White. A book. Brown hair.
And
Belle,
that's
Belle.
time. That's
Beauty and the
time.
Beast. Beauty and the Beast.
The Princess Diaries. Aren't y'all obsessed with that?
Yes.
Oh,
So
whoa.
good.
You did not do a good enough job for us to get
You
Princess
weren't
Diaries.
writing in it.
So what did you do for Princess Diaries?
You didn't write in it. You just showed the Bible.
You said princess, and then I showed you a book, Diaries.
You didn't.
That was
write.
good. You did a good job.
It was good. It was good.
All right, Lou, are you ready?
Sure.
All right.
Awesome.
I'll just show it's Maui in the background, why
Wow.
don't you?
Wow.
Nice flex.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Swimming.
Chicken.
Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo.
Finding
Finding Nemo.
Dory.
Finding Dory.
Ace.
Another book? Seriously?
Book.
The Lion King. The
Jurassic-
Black
Land
Cauldron.
Before Time.
No.
Lou, you can skip that one. I doubled up.
Okay, I was say okay, cool.
I said Jungle Book twice.
Lion King.
The Good Dinosaur. The Good
Lion
Dinosaur.
King.
Are you serious?
What? Phil, unbelievable.
Aladdin. Lion
High School
King.
Musical. No.
Hercules. Alice in Wonderland.
What is that?
Humpback of Notre Dame.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Inside Out.
Yep.
Inside Out.
Inside Out? Oh.
Inside Out. What?
Let's go.
Sword in the Stone.
Ratatouille. Ratatouille. Lady in the
Anyone
Trap. Come on. Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, Lady in the Trip. What's
I
that
just said
dog?
All dogs go to heaven.
Bug's Life.
Monsters Inc.
Oliver and
Dog,
Company.
dog. Oh, what's Air Bud? Air Bud.
No, more than just two.
101 Dalmatians.
Close.
100.
2 Dalmatians.
Yes.
The Lizzie McGuire movie.
Oh, God. Tarzan.
Sad. Snow White and the Seven
Superman.
Dwarfs. Snow White and the Seven
Superman.
Dwarfs.
And that's time.
Batman.
Tall Tale. Tall Tale.
Toy Story.
Toy Story.
Oh, now 5 people later we get Toy Story. That was supposed to be my gimme.
Okay, Mac, you are finishing us out.
All right. Let's do this.
Okay, 3, 2,
Take the sitting
1,
point.
go.
Sleeping
Mummy.
Beauty.
Sleeping
The Mummy
Beauty.
Returns.
Sleeping Beauty 2.
Mummy 3.
The bad
Sleep-
part.
Maleficent.
Bad one.
Aladdin, Whole New World.
Aladdin. No
High School
way.
Musical. High School Musical.
Aladdin.
Cold.
Frozen, please. Frozen 2.
Frozen 2.
Yeah, give me that point, Brandon.
Yep, Chris gets it.
Monsters Inc.
and-
Monsters Inc.
Look.
Monsters
Monsters
Inc.
Inc.
No.
Winners.
Wombo. SpongeBob.
The Mountain. A mountain?
A
Race
mountain
to the
upside down. And
Remember the Titans, the field goal.
You were close from the beginning.
Monsters University.
The Mummy. The Mummy.
Oh,
Oh,
Robin
Archer.
Hood.
Brave.
Robin Hood.
brave. What am I gonna do?
Alice in Wonderland. A Bug's Life.
Oh, Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
Popcorn. Santa Claus.
Oh, the $1 Million Cook-Off. It was a Disney original.
Oh,
Brandon,
Eddie's
I can't believe you
$1
put those in
Cook-Off.
here.
Oh,
A belly.
Someone
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
You're Tigger. Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh.
yes, Winnie the Pooh.
How did I get that one?
Wally.
Yeah. Oh, I got a last one.
Mulan. That's Ratatouille.
Rabbit.
Stole it.
All right.
Wow. Buzzer beater. Mac, you got
Nice
all of them.
job. Man.
Okay. So if you'll give me like 1 second
Wally.
to,
That was the highlight.
yeah, Lou, congratulations. You have I don't even have to count all of them. You definitely won.
What's my prize? Do I get a prize?
You get to
Florida.
You get to
Two
I don't know.
human.
Know that you won.
You don't deserve a prize. You live in Maui.
Okay.
That is your prize.
With second place, I think Phil. Phil, you took second place.
We got third.
I
At a passing glance, actually, I think Ace. I think it was you. Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
believe it. Nice.
Well,
That was fun. That was a good game.
That was
That was good.
Fun.
awesome. That was a lot of fun. Well,
you give me
Kinda
a
hurt
virtual
dropping it.
shake my hand, Lou, virtually.
Oh yeah. Good.
Good game. Good game. Good game.
High fives like T-ball.
I don't know. Do reactions show up on this? No.
No.
just fake. Well, now we have Nora's dance minute. I don't know what we call it, but regardless, this is a Frozen edition. So basically, enjoy.
What's she doing?
Who is that girl?
Elsa.
Oh, Nora herself. We get to see her now.
No.
Again? That's what she says right now when she wants something. She's again.
She knows it was good. She wants
You
to
like
see it
that?
again.
Is that fun? Again? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, Mac and Lou, thank you guys for joining us and being our special guest this week. Tonight we're going to be focusing. On change and kind of stepping into the unknown. It's okay.
He doesn't want
Thank
to
you very much.
It's the Frozen edition. No, there's no connection there. Let's just let us know, y'all. Like, what's been going on in your life? Whoever first. Mac, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, first off, I mean, a lot of people's lives look similar at the moment, just as we're adapting to change amongst everything. In terms of the fact that we are on a Zoom call right now and in person with you guys is a product of change. So I think just adapting is kind of where most people are in this season, and that's where I find myself personally. But yeah, aside from the season that we're in, I'm loving the fact that I'm getting to work alongside a youth group in Claremont, Florida. It was great getting to do a camp with you guys, a retreat with you guys a couple months back before all this craziness hit. So you guys got to meet some of our students and everything, but it's just a really, really cool opportunity to be able to serve in just a different location. Similar position, different location, and different group of people. And so that's been a really, really big gift and something that I've really been grateful for. So, but yeah, that's pretty much where we're at right now.
Well, yeah, for me, it's been pretty crazy. A lot of change happening, just obviously with the world. Like the cool part is though, I couldn't do this I couldn't just take a flight over, to Florida for the day if I wanted to come back and be a part of Epic. So it's allowing new opportunities, but a lot of stuff going on. It's allowing. There's a lot of hardships here. Maui's a main tourism industry, so I know a lot of friends that have lost their jobs because the islands are like basically kind of shut down. You can't really travel here. So that's kind of crazy to live on an island that's shut down and be like, you can't really go home if you don't want to. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll stay here with the volcano, I guess. But yeah, so it's been pretty cool. A lot of change personally, just, because of all the job closures, I've lost my job. And so waiting to start back up, hopefully right now looking to be a substitute teacher. And so I actually have a test tomorrow for that. So if you guys can pray me for that, that'd be appreciated. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, just kind of waiting and adapting like Mac was talking about, figuring out where I could be used, what's the best place for me to be used, and, allow me to stay here and be a part of the community where I feel God's called me to be.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. And Lou, man, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. Didn't know you'd lost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's only been 4 months now. COVID. I'm joking.
I didn't know. No. I know we have these things called phones that I could pick up and call, but
no worries.
That's the point. So the other thing I also wanted to mention, and I forgot to mention, you guys as the viewers get to ask the questions tonight. So anything in the comments, feel free to ask. If you already have my phone number or any of the staff's phone number, you can text them as well if you'd feel more comfortable with that. But go ahead and ask away anything that has to do with change, anything that has to do with transition. Similar to how we've done the last few weeks, but we're allowing you guys to ask the questions.
Yeah, and if you have any staff member's phone number you want to text us to, that's totally fine. We'll keep an eye on it and we'll throw it out.
Do you guys hear an echo? Do you hear an echo?
Oh yeah, I heard one.
It's all good. All good. Oh, sweet. We got a question. That's good.
Oh.
What has been the most challenging part about moving to a new location?
I'll go first. I would say the most challenging.
Sorry, Mac. One individual, Josh Rhodes, wants to hear what's up Epic before we get going.
Oh. What's up, Epic?
There it is.
We're back. That's good. That's good. Thanks, Josh. Yeah. I think personally for me, the hardest part of changing location is going from certain relationship to uncertain relationship with people. And I find myself being a person who really is community oriented when it comes to having friends around me in a social circle. And I was semi-lucky in the fact that I moved in a place where I could still drive an hour and hang out with some of my best friends. But there was this kind of tension in my heart for what is it going to look like to live in an area where I can't just call someone up to go get lunch right away. And what's it going to look like to have to put myself out there and meet new people. And honestly, I never moved away for college. So it was kind of a rewarding experience to get to work and do all of that, because I felt like God taught me so many things that I was able to in turn teach to some of our students who were going to graduate and go to college. Because what I learned is that the season that I was in prior, when you look at it, when you kind of reflect upon it, was priming me for the relationships I was going to enter into when I got here, for the opportunity to be a little bit more bold in meeting new people and finding the location and knowing where to look, because I think that was a big thing too. Because I didn't want to just go on the street corner and be like, I need friends on hope a sign or anything. But I did. I mean, I'm not kidding you. There were moments where I was like, man, what would it take? What's it going to take? And it just took patience. It took persistence, and it took truthfully wanting and not losing sight of that want for relationship and for community. So the hardest part for me was adapting to relational change, right? To not having friends readily available right away, and to having to make new friends. That was my biggest challenge, which I did not think was going to be my biggest challenge, surprisingly. But yeah, that was definitely my biggest challenge.
Yeah, for me, very different from Mac's situation, right? I moved to a place where I couldn't drive to visit my friends if I wanted to. And so it was kind of like Max saying about the friends, but the cool part for the situation I was in, coming out to do an internship, coming out, and I was gifted with people to live with that were around my age. And so I had a lot of people that I got to meet and get connected to. So that was a cool blessing in disguise, because that was like one of my biggest fears going. I was like, oh, I don't want to make new friends. I got good friends back home. And so that was my fear. But the cool part is God knew that fear, and he was like, hey, I already got you covered here. And but for like the challenging one, I think the hard part is, staying connected with people back home is always a difficult task, making time for that, and, doing that, but also not being stuck in the past, not getting stuck where you were, trying to, do that. I definitely can find myself, especially in the beginning, I was making a lot of time for people back home, but not people that were in my home. And so finding time to make relationships, and not saying the other old relationships don't matter, but it's finding the time and making the effort to pour into the people that God placed in front of you. And it's been one of those things that's difficult at times, but I'm still lucky to say that I communicate with a lot of the people that you see in the screen still, like I still reach out, I still have group texts, I still have certain conversations with some of the people today. And so it's cool when I go back home that I can allow me to be home when I'm home and be here when I'm here. And so that was definitely a challenge to come through, but also it's been a huge blessing, because I know people now from being open to the relationships I met here, people all across America and across the world I've met through being out here. And it's cool to have your friends grow and not just the same location.
I think a question that kind of goes, I think in line, kind of in the same vein of what you guys kind of touched on, is like, what was the hardest part of leaving your sense of normal? Okay, and then how did God help you overcome it? So what was the hardest part of leaving your sense of normal, and how did God help you overcome it?
I think for me, leaving a sense of normal was obviously hard, because you get used to where you've been. You have those relationships. It might be easy if you're, sorry for the wind, guys. It might be easy if, you're ready to run away from the place, I think. And sometimes you're ready to get out and explore the world. But for me, I wasn't at that point. And so it was hard to leave, and it was hard for the new normal to kick in. But the thing that really was actually the hardest is when the newness wore off, right? So when I got here, when I got to Maui, I felt like I was living my best life. If you pay attention to my Instagram, I was posting like every day, like, look at me, I'm doing all these cool things. Look at me, this is awesome, all this kind of stuff. But then eventually that wears off. Eventually new becomes old. And so by doing that, you place yourself in a thing where you almost made an idol out of the newness, right? Like, oh, my life is so much better here. I found myself in a healthy spot. This is great. And that was good. Like, that's what new brings, is a lot of new perspective, new, all this kind of stuff. But you can't expect things to stay new forever. And so actually that probably was the hardest part, was adapting to the new becoming the old for me. And that then, realizing this was okay. Like, okay, this is the new normal now. And so that probably actually me was one of the challenging parts of leaving my normal, was when the new normal became a thing.
Yeah, personally, when it comes to that kind of word normal, I think I had to challenge, and I believe that a lot of my relationship with God in general, I feel like comes in the form of challenge, that just so much of our communication back and forth is him challenging me in a healthy way. But I think that he just really challenged me to ask why normal was hard to leave, right? And because I started quickly realizing that it wasn't normal that was hard to leave, it was comfortable that was hard to leave. And the normal area is actually something that I didn't want, truthfully, because when you, and I think Lou could attest to this too, but when you do come in contact with new, there's an energy to it, there's an excitement to it, there's a rejuvenation to it, there's a rebirth to it in terms of what you thought you knew. And seeing so many new areas where you can grow, right? And so normal was something that I always wanted to have challenged. I mean, even my personality type likes having normal challenged. What I didn't have an easy time with was leaving comfort. And I believe that it was the more that I learned that it was impossible to avoid getting uncomfortable, the more comfortable I became. It's actually really funny. There's a Marshall, so Phil's brother, wrote a book, and in one of the books he has a little tiny just poem, and he said it's called the something paradox, but it's really, really funny because it says, get comfortable with becoming uncomfortable, for it produces comfort. And then it says, be comfortable with not knowing everything, for this produces knowledge. And I believe that that is so wholeheartedly true to stepping into the unknown, to stepping into new, to stepping out of normal, or whatever that might be, is that there's so much that can be learned and so much true comfort that really comes in the form of peace, not in this sense of like complacent comfort that I just don't want to leave. I don't want to change anything. I don't want to work harder. I don't want to do any of these things. So truthfully, I just really needed my psyche, like my brain, my heart, to be challenged as to why this was difficult. And the second I started really asking myself that question, I started highlighting the areas that I needed to be challenged in my life to grow and expand into what could come from the change. So that was a good question. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
Somebody else wants to know, what did it look like to seek discernment to step into a big change? What did it look like to seek discernment to step into a big change?
Oh my gosh. That is such a good question.
I think it's a lot involves actually listening to other people, surrounding yourself. The cool part was, if you didn't know, me and Mac are really good friends.
Wally.
So we had these conversations together because we were getting called to leave around the same time. But I remember those conversations, and a lot of it was personal with God, but also a lot of it was bringing that to a group of people, bringing it to some of your best friends and say, this is what I feel like the Lord's placing, and having them call it out on you if you don't think that's true, or calling like, okay, I think this is actually something you should be doing. And those conversations were not easy to have. They were hard conversations. I look back and I'm grateful for all my friends that told me, hey, you should go to Maui. I was happy to stay in comfort. I was happy to stay where I was at. Not to say where I was at was bad, but it wasn't where God was calling me to be. And it was one of those things where I think Mac touched upon it, was leaving comfort for peace. And I think that was something, knowing the difference between what's comfortable and what's peaceful. And those are very different things. And I think the world's really good at being comfortable, but not so good at the peacefulness of it.
Yeah, I would reiterate the conversations that I had with people were super important. Lou and I, we were definitely talking a lot about stuff during that time. And I think one of the questions that just got posed a lot in our conversations was, why not? And quickly you start realizing, when you give reasons why you do want to do something and why you don't want to do something, and you do it in front of people and not just in your own head, we can make the best excuse ever in our own head why we shouldn't do something that's good for us. But we tell it to somebody else and they will just look at us plain in the face and be like, that is so dumb. and we need to hear that. Like, we need to hear that from people who, if we just trust our own self-judgment all the time, right? There's going to be times that I want you guys to trust your gut. Like, that's 100% a truth, right? But there's times too where we are just really good at trying to get out of things that we're uncomfortable with. And so we will come up with good justifications for why something can be good for us. And it doesn't work in front of in the context of community that loves you. It will not work. They will not let you downsize your answer. They will not let you settle for something. And I think that's really, really important. I also, funny enough, I had a conversation with Bobby. You guys know Bobby Brooks. And he gave me great advice that was also horrible advice at the same exact time. And I feel like that happened multiple times in my life. And it was great advice because it was true, and it was horrible advice because it was simple, which is actually great advice, right? But he just said, look, at the end of the day, a month from now, you're either going to have said yes to something or no to something. And God's going to honor your yes, and God's going to honor your no. And when he really simplified it like that, I was like, look, you didn't solve a single issue for me, but you did make me realize that I can't be overthinking this. I can't be losing sleep over this. I can't be having anxiety over this. I can't be stressing to the point of not doing anything over this. So that simplification of like, look, God's going to honor your yes, and he's going to honor your no if you're called into the place that you're going to go step into when it comes to change. That was really, really big for me too. So those are two pieces for me in those scenarios.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so good. So good. And it's so easy to like want to go towards like anxiety and overthinking when it is like change, because
yeah, I wanted to look at him and be like, this is more complex than that. This is crazier. You haven't experienced this. And you can't do that because it's not true. That's just what I wanted to feel individually more. I don't know if it makes sense, like almost more, this is a bigger issue than it was. So
Yeah.
And I quickly had friends that brought me back down to earth, which was good.
Yeah, for sure. One of the questions was, how do you feel like change has affected your relationship with Christ through going through major changes for like both of you guys?
It helped me see him as much bigger. If I'm being honest, I think that I had not to say I didn't have a good relationship with Christ, but I had a confined relationship with Christ. I had areas that I had secluded him to. There were areas that I saw his power and I saw his work, and I knew that it was good, and I wanted to just continue being there. And stepping into a new role and into a new place, into a new community, which I know it sounds, we're only an hour away, but it's almost a different culture too. Kind of crazy enough. It just made me realize how true servanthood changes, how true servanthood adapts, how true servanthood loves on those in front of them with an intentionality that is so specific to those who are in front of them, that I got to see Jesus as much bigger than I had seen him before. Where I had always thought that the way to love people was to do A, B, and C, he was showing me that X, Y, and Z has been being done 50 miles away from me the entire time that I haven't been there. And so I think just really getting to see him as bigger, crazy enough, which I had put him in an infinite scale, but just allowing that to grow bigger was how my relationship was impacted. And I had more dependency, right? I was alone. I joked around with everybody. I went from living in an area where I would call someone up to go get gas at the gas station because I didn't want to ever be alone, to living in an apartment completely by myself for a year. And the dependency that I had to come to on God, the reliance I had to come to with him, and how much I learned that I refused it when I wasn't around community, was good too. So I think he just continues to remind me how much I needed him to in this period of time. So.
I would say probably very similar for me, but it's kind of because me and Mac have very different circumstances. I was put in a place where before I was actually living with a couple people, but I was basically living alone when I lived lived in when I was in Florida. But then I moved to a place where I was living with, there was 11 other people in my house, right? So upstairs was the girls, downstairs were the guys. And so like it was a pretty sorry, I don't know how to stop that as muting. Yeah, so it was a very situation where I was coming in and I got to hear about how people were loving like Christ was loving all across America, because they all came from different spots, some from this island, some from the other most people from the mainland. And so hearing the way that, kind of like Mac was saying, like, oh, this is how their understanding of God was, this is what they believed about God, like stuff that I never thought about, never seen, or things that I maybe judged before. I'm like, well, that's weird, that I wouldn't do that. And then these people were showing like, oh, this is what that looks like, this is what that means in action, and why they thought the way they thought. And so that was a really humbling experience for me. Like that's what I think God did the most, was to humble me, because I realized I did make my box too small. I did make what I thought God could do and what he looked like this is what it looks like in Central Florida, so this is what it has to be. And so it was really good to come out of that box and be like, wow, okay, God is bigger. And going back to kind of what I was talking about earlier about the newness, was now that I've really truly felt like I experienced what it means to come into a new spot and experience that newness. I feel like I understand what God was talking about. He says, I've created you to be a new creation. I tasted that, so I can understand when God calls us to be a new creation, what does that look like? Well, I know what it looks like now, because I got to experience what that newness felt like, and that joy that came with that excitement, that fever that came with that. But so to be able to go back to that as an anchor point, be like, okay, I'm not living into my best version of myself, because that's what I found out. When I was in a new scenario, I had more confidence. I had more belief in myself, even though I was more scared than I've ever been before. I was more confident who I was and who God created me to be. And so I think when situations come now, my relationship with Christ has changed, because I know who he created me to be in that scenario. Then not to say that was my perfect version of myself, but that was definitely on the right track. And so it's been definitely a really cool scenario now to be able to taste and sing that, be like, okay, this is where I'm slipping here. So let me put myself in a situation that's uncomfortable. Let me put myself in a situation that kind of I don't want to do, and God shows up every time.
Yeah. Man, I just made me think too that sometimes comfort can truly like challenge or hinder confidence, right? That we don't actually that it doesn't look like that from the outside because we like being in our wheelhouse, we like being in a place that we feel like we're comfortable in, but you never grow past the kind of ceiling that you've placed upon that place. And once you see that get shattered, the confidence that it does come in is pretty crucial. So that's cool. That's I didn't think about that.
And I feel like a piece of that too is like when we're in our automatic like normal, I think we're just kind of on autopilot, and so you almost like you don't have to depend on anything more than like kind of just whatever's going on naturally, you know, like you're kind of when you wake up, you don't have to like think through like how am I going to interact with this person or who am I going to see, like you're just kind of totally on autopilot. And I feel like there's something about like Mac, you mentioned dependence, and Lou, you're kind of touching on it too. I think like going into the newness highlights like where you've been dependent, you know, at the very least it highlights it, and hopefully it changes it, you know, if it goes from like self to God. But kind of like flashing back, because you guys are talking a lot about the change that happened from literally moving to a new place, which is just kind of ironic because the past like what 5 months have been change that's happened from literally not leaving a place. And so going on that, like there's a question that Matt Wisnett asked kind of like specifically about this season. He said, what has been the biggest benefit or positive during this season of like isolation and negativity, which has been that way for a lot of people. So flashing forward to kind of this season for you guys, what's been like the biggest benefit or positivity or like place you've grown?
I was saying before that a lot of my like interaction with God comes in the form of challenge. And I don't know if you've ever seen like the like a sketch of somebody interrogating someone, they like put the spotlight on them. But I feel like this time has really put a spotlight on people's priorities and challenged them. And I know it did for me. I know it's done it for a lot of the students in our youth group. I know it's done it for a lot of parents in our church. Our priorities were challenged. And we, in my opinion, during this time of isolation, I got to see a lot of priorities that I had that didn't need to be priorities. And as hard as it is to kind of admit that and come to that realization, it's extremely freeing when it's taken away, when it's handed over, when the areas of my life that I felt kind of shackled to, that I had prioritized to the point of saying like, I have to do this. And if I don't do this, I won't feel like I'm at peace. And then having some of those things stripped from me was really, really rewarding when I found out the weight that I wasn't carrying with them anymore. So it was challenging, but it was also, in my opinion, that was one of the big positives for me, was realizing how much time I was neglecting with the Father outside of the things that I could do with that time, right? So I would be great with my devotionals. I'd be great with finding a place. I'd be great with having quiet time, but they would all be directed towards some form of content that I was putting out, or student that I was serving, or family that I was going to be speaking with, or sermon that I was going to be preaching. And so take all of that away for a little bit and then actually have some time with the Father where I'm just asking him how he's doing. And it was just really, really earth-shattering how much I realized my priorities that were present in my life were dictating the priorities that were present in my devotional time. And so kind of having those things challenged was, like I said, challenging, and it was hard at first, but it's been really, really positive and rewarding to see the kind of grace that he's shown me in it, and the things that he's revealed to me in it as well. So.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah. For me, I think this isolation period has been a lot of, redirecting priorities, but also just in the sense of, for me, when I came back, I was in Florida, if you guys remember, back in January. I come back here and I felt like the Lord taught me a lot about rest. And I was like, okay, God, you gave me some rest. I'm good. It's exciting. Come back, try to get a job. Got a job for 2 days. The whole island shuts down, right? So I was like, okay. It was crazy. It was a crazy hurricane of just not an actual hurricane. There's some, but we had, it was a crazy revelation for me in the sense of just like, I thought I understood what God was trying to teach me. Like, okay, he taught me how to rest. This is good. Okay, learn how to rest. And God's like, okay, let's put this in practice now. And it was one of those things that was really challenging for me because I realized how much I put I try to control things, right? I think we all have a tendency to like really try to control. And so I was good at doing rest on my own terms. I learned that, right? I'm good at doing rest and slowing down on my own terms, but I think a true idea of rest and Sabbath is giving up control. And so this has been a season of giving up control of what I thought I was in control of. And I think that's a practice that us as people, us as Americans, us as this is an issue that's really deep, and like we love control. And I think it's been really cool. There's a trick I learned about control. It was like you put a hula hoop down and you realize that you can't control anything outside that hula hoop, right? You are only in control of yourself. That's the only control we have, is self-control. And so when we really think about that and think about what God is doing in this time, it allows us to realize that God is God and we are not. That we have, all the control that we've had in the past was a gift and a grace from God. And so to be able to do that and give that up to God and be like, okay, Lord, what are you going to teach me in this time? I think in the beginning I was like pumped. I kind of like I was talking about when I first got back to first moved to Maui. I was this new season. I was doing all these great things. I was in my Bible every day, and just like before, the newness wore off. And I don't know if you guys have felt the same during isolation. You maybe got a lot of stuff done the first couple. Like for me, we've been isolated. Like we had 6 weeks of in-home quarantine. We weren't allowed to leave our house for 6 weeks straight, and so that first 6 weeks was great. And then they extended another month. And then we could like go outside only to the beach, which was okay because I love the beach. But then it was just like it was crazy. Now the stuff has opened up, all these kind of things. But it was definitely a crazy season of time to give up control and really trust God and do those kind of things. But when we, take a step back and we're like, okay, Lord, I'm not in control. You are. I feel like that's where true vulnerability can be met and true brokenness is understood, because when we know that we're not in control, God is, we can reach out and find our dependence in Him.
Do you guys think that you're the type of people who enjoy change?
Does anyone? I don't know. Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, kind of. It like depends, right?
That answers your question. No, I am not that kind of person.
Just anyone. That's funny.
For me, the yes and no, in a simple way. If any of you guys are Enneagram lovers, I'm a 1, and technically, I like my adventurous side comes out when I'm like in the most positive form of myself, right? And that part of myself loves change, loves just kind of opening the day up and being like, yo, let the wave of today take me wherever it's gonna go. You know what I mean? When I'm in a great mood. But when I'm just kind of at the base level or I'm stressed, I'm pretty much the polar opposite. And I want to know schedule, and I want to know regiment, and I want to know routine. And if you mess that up, that does kind of, it gets in the way of my whole entire being in a sense. But I think when I'm in a positive state, yes, change is embraced on my part. And I think it's only when I stress or I make it bigger than it really is that I don't like change. So.
Sure. So Ben, can you tell us what parts of change were easy for you and what parts were hard? Not just you, Mac, but you.
Yeah. For me, I was joking a little bit. I do like certain change. I like certain change of things that I enjoy. Right. I like the things that I can like. Okay. Like, ooh, I change the channel on TV for something better to watch. That sounds like a change to me, right? But but yeah, good change. But there's a lot of areas in my life where I realize that I like to be behind the wheel, but when I don't have to take responsibility for the change, that's when I enjoy it, right? When I don't have to make the choice going to the Enneagram, I'm a 9, right? So I don't want to stir the boat. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't remember the saying. But I like when people are like, okay, I want responsibility for this. People change all you want. I'm here to ride the kind of like the wave aspect, but I don't want to be behind the, take responsibility for when the wave crashes, And so I think the easiest part for me for change has been, when it's not in my control, I don't have the choice, like, okay, well, I have to change. This is what's going to happen. I live in Maui now, we call flip-flop slippers here. So that was a change I've learned to say now. But again, that's a lighthearted answer, but there is things like, when I don't have to take responsibility, when I'm not in control of the change, that's kind of easy. I can go with the flow. I can rock with that, right? It's when someone's relying on me for responsibility in the change, relying on me for, okay, what do you want to do? It's like, oh, this is a little more, I got to think this through. I got to do these kind of things. And I realized I'm really good at pointing like, let's ask this person first, let's do this. And so back at Epic, it was easy. It was like me and Mac loves talking. So it was always, he would go first. And then I'll be like, yeah, what he said. And, sorry, I had to get a little.
What a dynamic duo.
Yeah. And so it worked out well. So then when people started looking for me, I'm like, okay, here we go. I don't know if that answers your question.
Good.
What was the second? What was the second part of that question? I'm sorry. Oh, what parts of change do I like, and what parts do I not like?
What parts were easy? What parts were hard?
Oh, easy and hard.
It changed very drastically.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Change. For me, easy comes like as you do it, right? Like as you get into it. Like the hard part is like getting, I don't know if you ever seen the Will Smith sketch where he's talking about like jumping out of a plane. Like he did that at the same time where I was taking this job, and I was like, man, this guy's spot on. He was terrified to get into the plane. He was terrified to put the parachute on. He was terrified to look out the window, right? Like the whole entire leading up to skydiving for him was terrifying. But the second he jumped out of the plane, it was super easy, and he was super happy about it. And personally, I think it was so hard to just think about what it was going to be changing, and it was super easy once the change was actually there. So I think all the hard part for me came prior to actually jumping into it. So
yeah,
good. I think change is one of those, for me at least, when I've experienced it, it's one of those things you don't know how hard it is truly until you're like in it. I very much relate to what you said, Lou, where it was like when I moved to Texas, the newness was just like, this is the greatest thing in the world. Oh, nothing can stop me, and then it just like all of a sudden just feels like it crashes down, and you're like, so this is what life is like now, and this is what it is. And
I was gonna say, you kind of get a different appreciation for where you came from after you. I don't know if this is the same case for me. This might just show that I'm a bad person in the beginning. But I got to a new area, and I was like, wow, they were really screwing up back home. Like, they didn't have this right or this right. They didn't have good enough food over there. There's better barbecue here, right? And like that was only the beginning because I was hyped and I was excited. And then very quickly I learned, oh my gosh, how steady, how consistent, how amazing, how wonderful the community I had was. And you kind of get a new appreciation for what you had after you kind of critique it at first, which is kind of crazy. But that was an experience for me too.
Yeah, no, on that front too. I know we talked a lot about change, about like, oh, you have to go somewhere to change. You have to go out of your comfort, you do have to go out of your comfort zone, but it's not always location based. So I don't want you here listening and be like, oh, well, I guess I got to move across the country to do something. No, that's not what change means, right? Change just means getting out of your comfort zone. And so kind of like Mac was saying there, in the sense of just, I know for me, like, when we were trying to decide, there's a lot of, that communication. We were like the hype guys for each other almost, right? Like, yeah, dude, you got this. And like, it's one of those things where I think when talking about like jumping out of the plane, like it's really easy when you see someone else doing it too. And so it's easy to see when someone else is taking that step, right? And I feel like, I don't know if anyone else relates about being like sometimes a hype guy, like you're always pushing people like, yo, you got this, because there's a part of me that want to see if they're going to jump first. And so that was one of those things that I think is really important when, you're looking at home, maybe you're going to college, maybe you're staying at home for college, maybe you're doing those kind of things. Those are all little changes. Just because maybe you chose to maybe take the comfortable way, I don't know what that looks like for you. Each one has someone different, but just because you're stepping into something comfortable does not mean you are going to rock the boat, or, God's not going to open a door for something uncomfortable to happen. Hey, it's Jesse. Sorry. So, yeah.
You guys can't.
Yeah, they can't see them.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. That works. They're gonna be looking at the screen like, where is Jesse?
If I can jump off that really fast, like one thing that I learned, or like I heard from one of my mentors in college, is when you say yes to God, and when you say yes to change, when you say yes to moving out of your comfort zone, that also opens up doors of opportunity for other people to go into the place that they're called to be. So like for me, I'm in a unique scenario where Mac and Lou saying yes to the hard change that God was putting on their heart gave me the opportunity to come into Epic, which I was in a season of discerning and asking the Lord what next door was going to be open for me. So there's a positive domino effect. And I think when we see that, that makes change a little bit easier. That when we say yes to God, that there is a beautiful ripple effect of doors opening and other yeses that follow right behind you that are meant to happen. And I think when we start seeing that our choices go even beyond the personal impact or effect that it has on our lives, and that God is in the business of making generational good change, then we have an easier time stepping into it. Had they not said yes to that, I would not be on staff or probably Angel either. So there's a lot of, a little yes can just go so far with a big God. So I would just challenge and encourage you guys, if God's calling you to come out of your comfort zone, if it's hard to do it for yourself, it may become easier to think about the other people it could positively affect too. So.
Yeah. The last thing that I would kind of jump on with all of this is like, I remember Lou, when you were planning to you were looking into the Maui stuff, and my sister and I love traveling. Okay, so you guys probably know that. 2 weeks ago when I did the wings, Angel asked where I want to travel, listed 8 places. Okay, and so then when I was like, oh my gosh, Lou, who doesn't want to leave, is going to be going to Maui, and I'm going to be staying here. And I was like, this is not the dream. This is not what I'm thinking. And here's what I realized is we're talking a lot about change, and we're asking Mac, Lou, we're asking you guys about the change that came from physical location changing, but the greatest change that God's ever going to want to bring or ever bring is going to be in you, as Lou said earlier, to a new creation. And for me, the more comfortable thing would have been to leave. And the less comfortable thing was to stay and get the roots down deep. New normal, I was really ready for the new and didn't really want to stick with the normal. And the normal is what really challenged me more than the new would have. And so I just also just give a kind of a opposite perspective of, when we're talking about the new, Lou mentioned earlier, there's a temptation to almost idolize it, because it does bring a freshness and an excitement. And it's almost if it's new, I should go for it. And I would just say the greatest new that God will ever bring in your life is the new that he's calling you into as a new creation. And that might just look like you being right where you are. So I just encourage you, every opportunity isn't the right one. Sometimes the best, most challenging new opportunity is going to be literally where your feet are planted. So don't overlook it, especially in the season of quarantine, where that will probably look that way for a while.
Amen.
Seriously. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. Seriously. Thanks for Lou. Thanks for, being on Maui time with us. And,
gotta eat lunch now. Because of this.
It's crazy, but it's awesome. Anyway, this is our last week of Weekly What's. So we went out with a bang, having Lou Mac here. I know. Last one. So we have a worship night on Friday, which you guys can RSVP for.
Won't be able to make it, sorry.
That's okay, Lou. We'll Zoom you in.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Mac. If any of your students came, if we saw you and you at the retreat in the fall, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. All right, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
You guys.